Hello, what's up? My name is Dingo, or Andrew, or Dingo, or whatever you want to say. Anyways, let's get to the point. I love video games, and I love Doom, and I've played video games for a really long time, and I've loved music and all sorts of stuff. So I think I'm a self-proclaimed expert on much of this subject, for better and worse. Anyways, having said that, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Doom, the Dark Ages, and some of the stuff going around it, and kind of just Doom in general, and just some of my thoughts on id Software's decisions for the game and stuff around the game, without getting, stuck on things that have been retread and spoken to death. So really quickly, I guess, where should I start? Technically, I guess, because that's kind of my bread and butter, and what I grew up on is being a graphics lover. I think the technology behind the game is phenomenal. It looks incredible. Aesthetically, I might slightly favor the previous two games, but that's just a personal taste. The technology is beautiful. The environments are massive. They run like butter. I have an RTX 4060, and I use 2x frame gen. I didn't even need to. I could have hit 60 almost the whole time with everything maxed out. But I figured, why not, just so I could hit lock 75 FPS at all times. I should be looking at the camera. I don't know where to look. Yeah, it's great. It plays beautifully, and all this gameplay in the background is me playing. I beat the game. Also, Ultra Violence first playthrough. Well, I first started on Hurt Me Plenty, and it just felt way too easy. Which, coming from Eternal and 2016 on the same difficulty, I played them on Hurt Me Plenty. And don't leave yet. This is on Nightmare. Everything you see is on Nightmare, 120% or higher speed. I'm just letting you know where I started. Zoned out. Yeah, okay, so 2016, played it back in 2017, loved it, but I've never been an FPS head. Okay, fast forward, Doom Eternal, played it right when it came out, hated it. Not hated it, but didn't dig it. Didn't know what the hell was going on. It was way too crazy. Didn't know what the hell was going on with the story. Thought they did a terrible job introducing the story, and that was part of what, I'd almost forgotten about the gameplay from 2016, honestly. All I remembered was the badass Slayer's Testaments and stuff. So going into Eternal, I was like, what's going on? Anyways, alright, that's enough for that. Anyways, fast forward again, Dark Ages comes out. I'm like, well, shit, I want to play that. I guess I should play Eternal now. And, now we got some Eternal gameplay in the background. Again, this is all Nightmare gameplay from me. Anyway, so I play Eternal, and I finally, get it, I learn how to play it. Still hurt me plenty, but, I fall in love with it. I look up the story, backstory, follow everything, and fall in love with the lore again. Now that I know what the fuck is going on, sorry. Okay. Alright, so I struggled my way through Eternal on Hurt Me Plenty. Thought it was way hard, got my butt kicked, but I made it and I thought it was an awesome game. Which is interesting because I played I'm not like a scrub. I played lots of. My background is fighting games and action games and shoot 'em ups, pretty much arcade style. I'm an arcade player, you know what I mean? I'm 39 years old. So that's my history. And just to let you know, yeah, I can't make a regular video. I hate editing. This is very stream conscious, but I think that's the best way for me to just to get out my thoughts. If you're here for it, great. If not, sorry. Anyways, really quickly. Okay, so I play the Dark Ages now after beating Eternal, and I did the Ancient Gods. All hurt me plenty. Start playing Dark Ages. Immediately, I'm like, whoa, this is hella easy. So I switched up to Ultra Violence. Got my ass kicked for 5 minutes, but then quickly adjusted, and then played through the rest of the game on Ultra Violence. Thought it was pretty sick. Really enjoyed it. Honestly, really enjoyed it. Was like, whoa, this game is sick. The only thing I really didn't love was the story. I didn't think the story was as good. I still dug it because I was all in. I was in for the Slayer. I was in for this, that, and the other. But I really did feel the loss of the codex. For me, before I got really good at the games, that was what I was playing for, the crazy lore codec pickups, because I sucked ass at the game for so long, that's what kept me going in my first couple playthroughs. And I was kind of bummed out that I didn't really have that to look for in Dark Ages. Like, yes, it's technically there, but there's way less. You can't deny it. And again, the cinematics are awesome, but for me, I don't really care as much about the delivery of the story, just what's there. And I read every codec in 2016. That was the shit that got me hooked. Read them all in Eternal. That's what helped me push through. And then, okay, so I beat Dark Ages on Ultraviolence. Then I beat it. Well, I almost beat it again on Nightmare. I played through like the first half at least. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Let's go back and play 2016 on Ultraviolence this time, since you're better at these games now. Since you can play Dark Ages on Nightmare, you should be able to at least play 2016 on Ultraviolence, right? And then you get the story again and blah, 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 blah. So I did that, loved it, it was awesome. Although I will admit, like, towards the very end of the playthrough, I was kind of like ready for it to be over, but I think partially is because at that point I was like, alright, I'm going to do the whole series on Ultraviolence at least. And then, so I started like thinking about getting good at Doom Eternal at that point again and stuff, so, because at this point I'm like, oh shit, Doom games are sick at high difficulty. I'm getting excited, I'm learning, like, oh man, I haven't even been playing the real game all this time, like, in like my competitive arcade brain is starting to work, like, oh shit, there's more to these games than I thought. So yeah, that's how I'm approaching them, and for better or worse. So I do give credit to Dark Ages a lot for kind of empowering me as a player and giving me the confidence in an FPS at a high level, in a way for me to apply the skills that I had previously and able to succeed at that game at a very high level. So I did appreciate that, and I would have never gone back and played these games at Ultraviolence or Nightmare had I not done that. But that being said, I can't lie, as I've gone through and played these games on Nightmare, both 2016 and Eternal, when I go back to playing Dark Ages on Nightmare, it does feel a little less satisfying. I don't know what it is. I don't know if that's because, they are, like, the Eternal and 2016 skills, like muscles that I'm exercising or whatever you want to say, like, are more new to me, and it's more of a fresh feeling, and that's why it's appealing to me more, whereas the reflexes required to succeed at Dark Ages is just a different skill set. It's more in line, like, more reaction based, it's more like timing based, which has never been my issue. It's more for me like FPS, like aiming, decision making, stuff like that has always been more my struggle. So just reacting to parries is pretty easy. And here's another arena, 120% speed, Nightmare, and Dark Ages. And again, like, every time I watch myself play Dark Ages, I'm like, oh, shoot, this game is so sick. And it is so sick. But I just feel like I want something else to be added to it. Obviously, well, first off, I want more lore codex, because that's me. That's just me being a lore nerd. I'm not going to fault the game for that. But I would appreciate it in the DLC if they do more of that. And I guess, I do want to say this, and this is not a dig at the Dark Ages, it kind of is, but I think it's part of the reason why a lot of people are giving it shit, even though some deserve, some not. Like, 2016 and Eternal were both great in different ways, like, 2016 I think is the best pure game, like, the best the best experience. Like, for your first playthrough, 2016 is going to be the best experience for me, because it incorporates, like, it just has the best balance of, like, cohesive narrative, cohesive environment, interesting enough gameplay, but it doesn't reward, and still enough, it does actually, no, I take that back, it does reward mastery a good bit, even though the deaths are super annoying in that game, and it's super janky on Nightmare, and you can die from just breathing on yourself the wrong way, and it's super annoying. Eternal is insanely amazing. It's like the best, from a gameplay perspective, it's like one of the best games ever made. It's like Devil May Cry 3 or 4 or Ninja Gaiden 2 put in a first-person shooter. Like, it's incredible. And Dark Ages is kind of similar to that, but a little less crazy. Less execution, less fighting game, a little more, I don't know, it's just different. It's still awesome, though, but it just... Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track. What I say all to me is it felt like with 2016 and with Eternal, it felt like they put everything they possibly could have thought of into those games. And then some, Whereas this game does feel the same way, but I guess you can just kind of tell they've committed their resources to other things, like the insanely huge environments, which are so impressive and amazing to look at, but I think, the impact of that in the long run is unfortunately less than, whatever, having 50 weak points on the enemies or something, you know what I mean? Like, I know that's not a one-to-one thing, I'm just saying, or like the dragon level or the Atlan level, which I think are totally cool and sick. I'm a Gundam nerd, like, as hard as it gets. Hugo Mine, I love you, be my friend. Anyways, I think that's why people, like, are thinking like that. They're thinking, oh, this game has technically less in it, it took them longer to make, it doesn't look that much better, even though that's stupid. We all know it does actually look a lot better. Like, it just is using the grunt in different ways and stuff. I think that's why the people that already love the other games or, fell in love with them, I think that's why it doesn't resonate as much. And kind of just like little things here and there, like, I think like changing I'm too young to die, not aspiring slayer, like, should that bother anybody? No, but like, why do it? Of course it's gonna piss like weird people off. And like changing the music. Oh, that's okay, I'm getting the hell out of here, I promise. But the last thing I'll say is the music. Do I like the new music as much as the last two artists? Maybe not, but it's pretty damn good. It's more than good enough. It's really good. But I will say, one, I feel like they kind of, maybe I need to finish my Nightmare playthrough, the last few levels again, so I can see how they use the music in those. But I felt like the music was, and to be fair to the game, like, when playing Eternal in 2016 more, it does happen in those games as well. Like the kind of jarring music cutout, it is present, but it's less noticeable, I think, because of the more linear environments and the more guided playthrough. Whereas in the Dark Ages, more open levels, I felt like they were a lot more harsh, like, music's rocking, music's done. And I really noticed that on my first playthrough, and it did bug me, and I constantly felt like I wasn't getting to hear the best parts of the songs. Like Battle on Black and Tide, like, such a sick song, but I can only remember like one instance of actually getting to hear that amazing riff. And I think that is the biggest problem with the music, to be honest. But I think all these idiots saying, like, oh, it's crap, it's generic metal, like, they're just really dumb. And they're farming, fishing views, and they don't deserve anybody's time. And also, like, it's just weird optics from it. Like, you have this huge controversy, and then you somehow find your way out of it. Against all odds, you get Holsholt and Levy, who everybody loves, and then you don't use them again. It just looks weird. Like, I think if you came out and said, like, hey, like, this is a different game, we genuinely just, since we already switched composers once, we thought it would be cool to give, like, each game its unique vision, sound, whatever. I think everybody with logic or reason would be fine with that. But maybe if they said that, then I'm sorry, I haven't heard that from them. I haven't heard them directly address, like, here's why we're not using Andrew Holsholt and David Levy, whom everybody unanimously, like, agreed was the only logical replacement for Mick Gordon's work. Like, that's the only thing I'll say about the music. I'm not even going to get into the quality because it's all subjective. Like, do I think it quite hits the highs of Mick Gordon stuff? Maybe not, but it is more than competent. More than competent. Anybody says otherwise is just being ignorant or a hater. And I think that's pretty much all I got to say. Yeah, the secret, people complain about the secrets. I don't really have much to say about that. Maybe they're slightly less exciting, but there's some really good ones in there. Like, some of the really hidden dragon secrets were really cool, and I enjoyed them. So they made up for the slightly less inspired ones. And yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe the melee system, like a little bit of tweaks to that, like, could maybe help people overlook the removal of, like, the weak points on the enemies and stuff. These are just spitballing thoughts. But yeah, I don't know, and just maybe like tweaking a little bit of the checkpoints and stuff, because I was getting kind of pissed having to repeat so many battles I was doing over and over, like, that weren't pertinent to, or important to. Oh, and bugs. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. All their games have kind of been buggy, at least for me. my experience, I don't know, it's weird. Like, they're the most polished games on earth, but then, like, I've had more crash with their games than any other things. It's bizarre, but I'm not going to hate on them for that. But just being honest, I did have 2 genuinely progress-stopping bugs hit me during my playthrough. One, fairly late in the mission where I don't remember which mission, but you're, like, triggering these switches. You have, like, a large encounter, then you have to press the switch, and then move on. And I just kind of did it in a weird order, and I, like, did the battle and went to another switch and pulled that one or something like that, but it just somehow confused the game, and it just would not let me throw the next switch and trigger the next event. I did everything I could. I triggered the checkpoint 1,000 times. I went around, I'm not an idiot. I know I wasn't mistaken, and the fact that when I restarted the mission, it worked perfectly the next try just proved that to me. And then one other instance, on the first mission, just the door wouldn't spawn. I was literally running around for like 10 minutes, and this was on a replay, so I know I wasn't confused. And then, of course, but this, at least, when I reloaded the checkpoint, it did solve it. I didn't have to restart the mission. I think that's all I got. Really cool game. Awesome game, even, but it didn't quite have the same staying power for me. And I don't know if that's, like, kind of like what Hugo said, if it's because of, like, just, every game's going to resonate differently with every person or different people, or if it actually is a reflection on the game's quality. I don't think it's the latter necessarily, but I do think there's a little bit less there in some respects, and I don't think that was intentional, but I just think it's just a product of what they went for, and I respect them for that. I think that's amazing, but it's gonna come with pros and cons, I guess. Anyways, alright, I hope you enjoyed me rambling about Doom. I've just fallen in love with the series so hard.